Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where as promised we are commencing our braking burn over Dress here. The burn is going to be done in about 2 minutes. We're on 4x physics warp, of course. We've not quite entered orbit yet, although we're about to. So that's looking good. This is exactly the burn that we wanted to make. No changes were made to it. It's all completely as planned. Excellent. So we're going to be looking to land probably somewhere up in this darker portion, right? I'm guessing that's going to be less bumpy, judging by what we're seeing here. So we're probably going to want an inclination change. Okay, let's go ahead and come out of the physics warp here. We've only got about 15 seconds left in this burn. And we've got enough delta V left in this tank to do some inclination change. That should be absolutely fine. I'd like to bring this more equatorial. That looks like that would be beneficial for us. But let's just go ahead and circularize. That'll do. Okay. So from here, I want to go to the periapsis, and I want to look to make this a little bit more equatorial. Cool. So something kind of along the lines of... It's a little awkward because we have to throw in some retrograde to keep this roughly circularized. But something along the lines of this will do. It's not perfectly equatorial, but it doesn't really have to be. So we'll line up for that. That burn will be about a 56-second burn. That's not too bad. Cool. So let's prepare for that. And that'll be about 200 of our 300 remaining meters per second. So a little bit of our braking burn will be out of this nuclear engine as well. Thrust to weight there is actually 3, which is really not bad. Cool. So we'll prepare for this burn. The burn will be starting in about 10 minutes. Make that 5 minutes. And about 1 minute. Okay. So I'm going to physics warp as we align for the burn. There we go. And we'll time warp a little bit forward here to get to the burn position. 10 seconds. 2, 1, mark. Excellent. We'll physics warp this burn and just get our inclination change done. Again, it doesn't have to be perfectly equatorial. We're just looking to get it more equatorial. There we go. We've got about 10 meters per second to go here. This doesn't have to be perfect, so we overshot slightly. I'm okay with that. Yep, this looks fine. So we're going to come around again here, and we're going to look to do... I'd really like to kill our horizontal velocity. How much delta V would that be to basically go straight down somewhere around... here. This is not the most fuel-efficient way to land, but it should be reasonably fine. Okay. Yeah, that should do the trick. So we're going to go into surface mode, and we're just going to go to surface retrograde. We're mostly just looking at how long this burn time will be. And I guess kind of the burn location. This location looks reasonably fine to me. So we're just going to hop around to surface retrograde and warp to this next maneuver. But we're going to, of course, need to reorient. Once we make our way around, surface retrograde will have changed by the time we get there. Oh, we're actually retrograde here. I actually didn't notice that. That adds a little bit of extra delta V, but that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. So looking at the way that this is orbiting here, or rather revolving, we're going to want to land more like here. And that'll be fine. So let's go ahead and warp forward a little bit. Yeah, this looks okay. Cool. So we're going to need to start orienting for this burn, right? We need to make our way over to surface retrograde here. And we're just going to kill all of our horizontal speed if we can. We'll commence this burn now. Cool. We're not really looking to get this maneuver done. We're just looking to kill our horizontal velocity. So we'll just park here at the horizon. And that'll do for now. We're going to be burning off the last little bit of our nuclear fuel. And then we'll ditch that and fire up our chemical thrusters. So we've got another 5 seconds of burn here. And there we go. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and deploy our landing legs right now. There we go. And we're just continuing to bring this on down. Our thrust to weight should be going up relatively dramatically, actually. I'm just keeping an eye on these numbers here. Now, keep in mind, the way that Flight Engineer appears to calculate this, it doesn't really take your horizontal velocity into account. So these numbers are probably not very accurate until we kill our horizontal velocity, which I want to be right about here to do. We've got about 100 meters per second to go there. 80. 70. 60. 50. 40. And at this point we can... we don't need to be killing any vertical velocity right now. This is fine. 10, 5, okay. That's about what we're going to get for right now. We've only got 3 meters per second horizontal velocity right now. I do want to make our way over this way, if I can stop this motion a bit, and just push it on over. Just looking to push this node a little bit. There we go, like 300 millimeters per second. That'll do. So we can now see that this is going to be about a 245 meter per second landing burn. Looks good. And it'll be in about 4 minutes when we'll commence this. So we can just go ahead and warp forward a couple of minutes. There we go. Now it's going to be in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I've already grabbed this data over here, so that's not a concern. 1 minute 17. Again, I don't fully trust these numbers, especially when we've got, 8 meters per second horizontal. We could grab this crew report, I suppose, but let's just physics warp down, and we'll start this burn at about, like 5 seconds before. Like normal. Okay, so we're about 10 seconds before now. And we'll commence the burn now. This looks pretty lumpy. We'll see how it goes. So, as usual, we're going to drop our DV required here. Drop our speed pretty dramatically. And we'll see how this goes. We'll have quite a bit of fuel left over. We should probably stow our solar panels, just in case. There we go. We're up to 10 seconds here, so I'm going to let us coast for 5 seconds. There we go. That'll do just fine. And we're just continuing to bring this on down. Just some very gentle movement here. This looks reasonably flat-ish, actually, where we're going to be landing. So I like the look of that. Reasonably. And we're just continuing to burn here. That does look reasonably flat, actually. Getting less flat as we go this way, but... okay. Seems fine. We're only about 800 meters up at this point. So we should probably bring this in by gut at this point, realistically. Just continuing to slow down a little bit here. Throttling down as we approach target velocities. We're still slowing down a little bit here. And we're going to have to throttle up slightly. But that's okay. This is looking reasonably fine. Not the flattest landing location, but it should be okay. Gonna go over to Stability Assist right now. And we're going to just drop down our speed a little bit further. Cool. Continuing to decelerate. 3 meters per second. 2 meters per second. Okay. We're going to have to try that a little bit further this way. Not the finest landing we've ever seen. We'll pull this on around to surface retrograde. And commence the burn here shortly. Okay, let's go ahead and begin that. This looks flatter. Bringing down our speed a little bit here. I don't love the horizontal velocity here, that's for sure. Let's try this one more time. Okay. Bringing down that speed. There we go. Oof, this isn't going well. This isn't going well at all. Wait, maybe it is. Maybe it is. How's that? That looks good, actually. That looks very good. Okay, we hold here. Well, that got exciting. Let's go ahead and have timbre EVA here. We need to immediately begin dropping down our side portions, right? So we're going to go for this one first. I don't really care where these go. I guess that works. That's definitely not where I wanted that to attach to, but sure. Let's redo that one. Okay, that'll do. So back over here we go, and we of course want to not be tipping over that way. We're going to set our traverse rate down to 10. And dropping this down to 90 degrees. Okay, now we're going to need to do this one. So we'll go ahead and do that. That looks good. Traverse rate down to... Whoa, that's way too much traverse rate. Okay, I didn't change the traverse rate. I should have, but we appear to be okay. Through some miracle. Beautiful. So next up, we're going to get the other two, of course, and I'll do both of those simultaneously. They are less important now that we already have 2 points of contact done. So we'll just detach these here. There we go. And these can both be brought down. We really should turn down the traverse rate in the VAB, so we don't have to do this every time. That would be a good thing. We'll just bring that down to 10 and down to 90. Excellent. And now the same thing over here, of course. Down to 90 degrees. And there we go. So we have successful deployment. We'll see if this can be extended. No, it thinks it's stowed. I don't know why it thinks that. But we have to reload it to fix it. We can extend this radiator, no problem. We can quick save here, which we can't do while we're on a ladder. That makes sense. Timbre is going to go ahead and board. We'll quick save here, and then I'm going to reload so that we can extend this. So that should be the persistent save, right? Let's see here. Year 22, day 114. Yeah. So we're going to load that. That may put us back in the Space Center. That's fine. We need to reload in order to be able to deploy that radiator for some reason. It must be because when it's folded up, it thinks it's inside of a container bay or something. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'd have to look. But let's go ahead and hop back here. And we, of course, have a world first milestone here. Indeed. We're going to grab our tracking station and head back out to dress. I've already cleaned up all the space junk here, so that's fine. We'll get loaded on in. And any moment now, we'll be able to extend that radiator and get our fueling going, which will be great. Come on, KSP. It's currently not responding. It does that sometimes. But there we go. Now it's loading in. Excellent. So now we're able to extend this radiator for reasons. We don't appear to need to retract these landing legs and sit on the engines. I'm going to do it anyway. We actually aren't sitting on the engines. The weight is being borne elsewhere. So I'm actually going to re-extend these. Okay, and we'll let that settle on in. Cool. So next up, we're going to get our mining drills set up here. We're going to take these around to 0. Helps if I actually find 0. There we go. And then this one will also go to 0 on. And we'll deploy these drills, which will start to bear the weight over on this side, hilariously. We can turn down the force limit here down to 1% and set this target extension like that, just so that there's some weight in the center, right? And then we can start the surface harvesters. There we go. We should also remember to extend our solar panels, which we will do. Is this actually resting on the surface? I'm not sure that it is. Let's make sure that it gets resting on the surface. There we go. The rest of these should be, but this was swaying around like it wasn't. So let's get that extended out. Excellent. And we can get our ISRU started up. So that will refill our fuel tank here eventually. That will take a good amount of time. And now we need to set up our external science. So, first things first. We're going to head down over here. And we're going to then have Obster head out too. Okay. And we're just going to park Obster right up here as usual. Cool. So we're going to grab Tambur's equipment, stow that away, and there we go. Tambur is literally just going to turn around here. Well, we're going to place the equipment a little further out, like here. But we're going to move closer and closer as we get this set up. So we're going to need additional power, right? Let's go ahead and set up our experiment control station first. There we go. We're going to set that up out over here, so that way we know exactly how much power we need. These being in shadow actually doesn't appear to matter, so that's fine. We're going to get all of our science experiments set up, and we'll see how much power we need. So next up will be this one. It doesn't actually... this is a weather analyzer, right? Yeah, that's a weather analyzer. This one's not going to do anything. It's just going to waste power, but that's fine. Okay, so back we go. And we're now going to grab the Guab ED monitor. Beautiful. We'll get that set up over here. Wouldn't it be interesting if the mining created tectonic readings that we could get off of our seismometer? That would maybe be a little bit OP, but that does sound like fun. This should create some seismic readings, and being this close, you know, you'd think that we would pick up on it. Not that that would necessarily be useful data. We would have to probably, like, scrub that out of the data, which would be also kind of interesting if it created interference in some way. But our ionographer is definitely something that we're going to put down here. There we go. And we should also plant a flag as long as we're out here. There we go. That will, of course, get us our world first milestone. Beautiful. I don't really care about this site name, to be honest. Tambur says hi. There we go. Very creative, Tambur. Okay, so we're going to hop back over here. The question now is, just how much power do we actually need? Well, we still need to set up our Communitron, right? So we'll go ahead and put that in. And that will go right there. Looks good to me. So now the question is, exactly how much power do we need? This is currently saying 5 with a power unit producing 1 at this moment. Total power available 2. Okay. This photovoltaic panel is not currently producing any power, oddly. We're going to need to set up a few more, for sure. So we're going to set up this one. And what's that going to say for power? Well, let's actually come out over this way a little bit. We're currently stuck on the equipment. That'll do. Okay. So we'll set that one up. Total power available is now 4. Okay, so we're getting 2 per for each of these, even though this says 0. So we're still on low voltage, but we're going to require one additional. Let's see here. Obster. There we go. So we're going to grab one additional power panel. There we go. And we're just going to place this here. Should be good. And that should be all of the deployed science that we need. In theory. Total power available 6, total power needed 5. This looks good. Okay, so we will now get our equipment back. I wanted to come in here, put this in. There we go. And then we can just lift off. Well, actually, Obster wants to go into the science lab. So we will board here. Excellent. And then Timbre will head on up and hop into the Cupola module. Cool. Now we also need to remember that the further out we get, the less useful these solar panels will be. Are we still solar panel power positive here? Actually, right now we're not. And some of that might be due to the fact that this solar panel is in shadow. But yeah, you can see here the energy flow is only 2. So we're going to have to rethink our power system going forward. This will be enough for now. But we will have to rethink that going forward. Once this solar panel is no longer blocked by the Hitchhiker storage container, we will be positive on our power. Barely, but we will be. And also, once we finish up our liquid fuel and fill up all of our ore here, it should be fine. So we do definitely need to do one last thing here, though, which is moving science into the science lab that we picked up on the way in. So we're going to transfer our magnetometer data. This is not what I wanted to do. We want to review the data and process that in the lab. That's 371 data. We are then going to review this data and process that in the lab. That's 82. And then we will review this data, process that in the lab. That's 66 science. How much can we get in there still? Like 200. Okay. So the barometer is going to be 99 data. And then the spectrovariometer can't be done, of course. We could do like the Science Junior. That's 206 data. That's not going to fill. So what else can we grab here? We could grab the negative gravioli detector. 165 data. That can't be put in there. What about the seismometer? That's 220 data. We'll just call this good for now. We've got how much in there? 618. That'll be enough. So we'll go ahead and start that research. Cool. So we can see here we're quite negative on our electric charge. We're going to have to ration our power, but that's okay. I'm not too concerned about that. Long term, this will be fine, especially once we finish up getting all of this ore processed, right? It'll be okay. Not a big deal there, but we are going to have to rethink our power going forward. So that's going to be interesting. What is our total power requirement on this? This doesn't actually say. We'll have to figure that out in the VAB. Okay, well, we're done here. This colony is now complete on Dress, and we're going to head on back to the Space Center. Fantastic. So from here, we're going to prepare for our Jool missions. So we're going to have to make a couple of alterations. First off, let's go into the VAB and make a couple of quick changes. There's not much time left in this episode, but there's a couple of quick modifications that I want to make to our system going forward. So we're going to hop into the VAB. Oh, we should probably check our contracts, shouldn't we? We can do that next episode, potentially. We're already loading into the VAB. It's fine. So we're going to open this up. This is going to be our Dress outpost, which we're going to rename as Jool Outposts, plural. Now, most of those around Jool aren't going to be atmospheric re-entries. I think only Lathe. We'll have to double-check that, but that's my current thought. We're going to ditch these mainsails, and we are going... Well, we're not going to ditch them, but we're going to remove them. We're going to put in a set of decouplers down here so that we can get rid of them. and then put the mainsails back on, like that. We want to be in quad symmetry. There we go. So that we don't have to carry these while these fuel tanks are full. So this will require a refueling mission, right? That's a guarantee. It'll possibly require several. So the main problem here is hoisting this into space, right? I have a dumb question. What happens if we ditch the X-232 here and instead put in an additional Jumbo 64 tank here, and then maybe even the 200 here, and have it go like this? This would now strut in from here to here. This is a lot more potential fuel, right? We're probably... Fact of the matter is, filling this on orbit is going to be insane. Absolutely crazy. This would be detached long after these go, but before this goes. So it would be something along the lines of this for our staging. What's our thrust to weight at takeoff here? 0.86. So we can't lift this. This will not fly off the pad. Noted. What if these up here actually didn't contain oxidizer and were exclusively liquid fuel? So that way, these are the liquid fuel and oxidizer. These are only liquid fuel for this. That would be interesting. Wait, hang on a moment. Are we not using these engines because we don't have crossfeed here? Yep, that's the problem. Okay, so 1.38, that's much better. So I do think that having these only be liquid fuel is interesting. So we do something like that, and then the decouplers here, we enable crossfeed on, like that. So that's 1.53 off the pad. And this is all only liquid fuel, no oxidizer. Interesting, interesting. So this is going to require some additional modifications, I think. But for now, this'll do. We'll get this finalized next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Spartan News, Unisol, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.